Thank you. When I read for people, um, I use the cards, tarot cards, to give me information that I talk about when I read for people. So I want to talk about what these cards mean to me and what I say when I get these cards in a reading. So we're going to use swords. There's four suits. The swords are one of the four suits, so we'll start there. And the swords would be mental. Everything of the mind would be in the swords. So all of these cards have to do with the mind. And they start with the ace, which is a new beginning. Aces are new, fresh, start, it starts with ace. So the first card you come to is the Ace of Swords. First thing that happens in terms of thought is decisions. So the Ace of Swords has to do with decisions, new decisions. And when it comes to the Ace of Swords, it's a strong new decision. And this decision will affect the whole entirety of it, including the follow-through. So when you get Ace of Swords, it kind of implies there's a strong follow-through too, not just a decision. Okay, and the ace means it's a correct decision, a right decision, and appropriate decision. So when you get an Ace of Swords, it's a very positive card, unless of course you get it upside down. Now upside down, it starts getting a little bit, I better stay away from this one because first of all, it's a sword, and what's coming down to something, it's coming down towards you. So this could be a very punishing card to any degree. A great punishment card could be death, all the way up to maybe you're getting hurt a little bit. So the sword is a good decision to a menacing kind of consequence to whatever decisions you're making. And of course, poor decisions would be upside down. So when you get an Ace of Swords and it's right side up, new decision, good decision, and it's something you want to find. And the spread will put it in different places: past, present, future, final outcome, basis of it. So depending on where it shows up, it can mean different things. So if this is a final outcome, the final outcome will lead you to a great new decision, great new idea. Then we come to the two. All of these are conflict cards. All of these are mental cards, when usually swords have to do with conflict, because that's what happens to the mind. This is an argument. This is somebody on one side of the argument and somebody else on the other side of the argument. This is a conflict card. And so whenever this shows up, you say, that person's not going to be agreeable to me, or these two people are not going to be agreeable to each other, depending on the question. So you always have to go back to the question. But this would be a card of conflict, two different ideas. When you put it upside down, it has a different meaning entirely. Now it becomes release. No more conflict, just letting go. So the idea of letting go is really strong within this Two of Swords. That's the two. The three. Okay, so we got a new idea. Now we got two people with new ideas in the two card, and they're conflicting. Now we got the third. So these two people are producing now a third element. And this one is the divorce separation card. Okay? So when you get this card, it's a quick, fast separation. They come in, let's get out of this, and they get a quick divorce. Or it doesn't have to be marriage even, so it could be just a separation. Okay? So that's what that is, and you can apply that, depending on where it shows up, to past, present, future, final outcome, basis, everything else. Or if you get it upside down. Now this is a long drawn out divorce, long drawn out separation. It goes over time. So that's the meaning of the Three of Swords. Now we got the Four of Swords. Now we just got through the divorce, right? Now we're into number 4, which is we're going to rest and recuperate from all that trials and tribulations. So this card is a card of burnout, tired out, worn out. So when you get this card, you can read that into it. So this is a burnout, tired out, worn out card, but upside down, you're coming back into rejuvenating, you're back in action again. So back in action again from the other. So that's the Four of Swords. Five of Swords. When I see the Five of Swords, I see a problem, okay? And every time it shows up right side up, it's a pretty good sized problem, okay? So it identifies it not just as what's going on, but this is a problem, some kind of importance. The Five of Swords, when you look at it, it's two people fighting. It looks like they're going to do some injuries and all that, you know. So that's really a part of it. It's a part of conflict that gets bloody somehow. And when you turn it upside down, no problem. It's a problem, but no big problem at all. Okay, they're not really fighting. There's no problem. The Five of Swords. Okay, now we got the Six of Swords. Now after the fight, you're going away from the fight, obviously. Going away from troubles to better times. So here you're leaving all those situations that were conflicting and troublesome, and you're going to better times. Upside down, I read that as no way around it but through it. This is something I got to confront. I can't be going away from it. I got to stick around. I got to resolve it. I got to be there. No way around it but through it. Now I'm simplifying the meanings of this so you'll remember them. Because if I give it a long, drawn-out thing, it's hard to kind of connect. But these things you can remember. And the Seven of Swords. So no way around it but through it, or going away from troubles. But what else is going on here? And when you get to the seven, lie, cheat, steal. Okay, so this guy's actually stealing the swords. So this is a dishonest card. This is a card of duplicity. This is a card of treachery even. All kinds of things. And when you have it the upside down, just the opposite. This is the card of honesty. So this card shows up in my readings a lot of times when I just kind of make the comment, that's just the truth. That's just the truth. It's just the truth. That, you know, just take it from that. So, but it's truthful like this. It becomes very truthful. The Eight of Swords. Eight of Swords is all about restrictions, and you can see this person's all restricted. It can't seem to go beyond the swords that are surrounding her. And in actual reality, her feet aren't bound. She could just walk out of the swords. But no, this is a restriction card. And its worst case scenario, you'd be put in jail. Or it could be minor restrictions. Upside down, freedom. Card of freedom. Card of not being restricted. Now we have the Nine of Swords. The thing important about the Nine of Swords is it's a stress card. This is a stress card. But it's only stress. Nothing's happened. Okay? Nothing's happened. You haven't got your head chopped off. You're in line to get your head chopped off. It hasn't happened. You're stressing about it. But nothing has really happened. This is stress, 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 stress. Okay. Upside down, inner peace. This is actually the second most inner peace card there is out of all the 156 different card variations and meanings. Inner peace. Joy, contemplation. It's a good card. Now, all the worry that you did in the 9, now going into the 10, and you are going to get your head chopped off. This is the card of failure. And you can see the picture here. This guy's got 10 swords, and they're all piercing him, and he's dead in the bottom there. But it's a card of, in a word, it's the card of failure. Success after failure. Upside down, you had failed, but somehow you're redeemed from it, and you get success after failure. So that's 1 through 10. Now we start into the face cards, and we have the page. In fact, all the pages are about communication. And the swords, obviously, would be mental kinds of communication. This is the spy card. This is the spy card. So if you got this card, it indicates somebody's looking at you. Okay, it doesn't mean anything else is going on, but somebody's looking at you critically. And if it's upside down, they've caught the person they're looking for. So this is the card of, we caught him with his pants down. Okay, or with his hand in the cookie jar. Okay, so this is the spy card, and the upside down is getting caught. Where it fits and everything else depends on if it's you getting caught, or you're catching somebody else getting caught, or it already happened, or it's going to happen. Then we have the Knight. I should say too, before I leave the pages are people. If they're not people, it's all about communication. So these would be young people, under 13 typically. But if a person is immature, it could be a 50-year-old. It's about immaturity. Then we get into the Knight. This is an older kid. This would be 13 to 35, typically. Somebody who's immature, It could be much, much older. Or there's some kid that's very mature, would be the Knight. All Knights are material events, important material events. Right side up, they're positive. Upside down, they're negative. So this would be a right side up positive a material event having to do with the mind. All over like that. And that would be that card. And specifically the sword, it'd be something new, something that has not going on now, that's due to come in. It's never been there before, all of a sudden it's brand new. Now it could be already happened in the past, or it could be in the future, but this is something that hasn't happened, all of a sudden it shows up. And it's gonna be there tomorrow, the next day, or the next year. It'll be around for a while. So there's something new coming in that's sticking around. We're still back to the same meaning of the material events, but now we've got something that's been there all along, leaving. So upside down, something leaving. So in relationships, you get this card and it's showing up in the immediate future, for example. Depends on the other cards, but you think of, hey, somebody's going to be leaving you, like a boyfriend or something. You know. That's the Knights. The Knights are always important material events or people. All these face cards are either people or events. In the case of the Queen, it doesn't always be a woman. It's not always a woman. Sometimes there are men that are nurturing, would be a queen. But the Queen of Swords is right. She's correct. And she's typically 35 plus. This is a mature person. Making the right decisions, you know, doing the right thing. A person noted for their mind, being smart. This is the bitch card. Upside down, the Queen of Swords is the bitch card. Now, it doesn't necessarily have to be a bitch, but it's called the bitch card because it can go that direction. It could be that she's got something to complain about, or he's got something to complain about, and it needs to be expressed. So it can actually be a positive card if the expression of what you're complaining about is something that needs to be talked about. So a lot of times this will be a positive card showing up, complaining about a situation that needs to be complained about. That's the Knight of the Queen of Swords. Now we got the King of Swords, okay? Well, obviously kings are typically male, but when a woman shows up for work and she's the boss, she's the king. She's not the queen, she's the king. So a king could easily be a woman. And when a woman wears the pants in the family, she's not the queen, she's the king. So it goes back and forth with genders, but who's ever wearing the pants becomes the king. This is the most powerful card in the deck. So we got a lot of power in this card. But when you turn it upside down, it becomes abusive. Okay, so this would be the ultimate abusiveness card, the abusive behavior. Okay, so when you give the King of Swords upside down, somebody's abusing somebody. So that's it on the swords as a general rule. Now, the way I treat cards when I see them in the spread, I don't sit and look at the colors or imagine things and start predicting things based on just my head going off in some funny direction. I stick to the textbook meaning of the cards, and my psychic ability pulls the right cards out, so I'll tell the accurate story just from the cards. People can't understand that concept, but I read the cards textbook when I read, and they say I'm accurate. So that's the swords. Thank you.